All right, everybody, Wednesday, October 2nd, and we're 33 days away from the election day, November 5th. Today on Bolling, J.D. Vance mops the floor with Tampon Tim. Think about that for a second. Plus, turns out it wasn't Trump who would start World War III like Joe, Kamala, and the entire left-wing political apparatus claimed. We're on the precipice of a potential world war, and it could be directly tied to Biden, Kamala, and their fearless leader, Comrade Barack Obama. I got the receipts to make them squirm in their ivory towers. And your daily Bolling truth bomb is just ahead, so here we go. Yes, as expected, on all factors, J.D. Vance was the clear winner last night. Remember, this was crucial because a lot of undecided voters likely made up their decisions, made up their minds for November based on last night. Think about this for a second. If, God forbid, you lose the president, you always have to think about that. Think about this. Last night, who would you rather have as the commander-in-chief? Would you rather have J.D. Vance, cogent, collected, calm, and correct, or the wild Tim Walz, who was looking down, writing stuff, couldn't figure out where he was, sweating, wild-eyed? I don't know. I think if you're undecided, you would have picked J.D. Vance as the potential number one in case the actual number one goes down. J.D. Vance was just better. His facts were on point. His whole style, J.D. Vance came across as the future of his party and as an excellent representative for President Donald Trump. This was the clear right choice, emphasis on right. But let's be honest. This wasn't a debate between J.D. Vance, the hillbilly Marine turned Yale law grad, and Tampon Tim. This was a debate between J.D. Vance and the entire liberal machine. The moderators, Nora O'Donnell and Margaret Brennan, served up some serious state-run TV propaganda. These ladies were following their marching orders so very clearly. Turns out they learned zero, zilch, nada from the disaster of a debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. That 3-on-1 debate style ABC gave is a real disservice to the American people. And by state-run propaganda media, it was obvious all night long it happened again. Is it any question whatsoever that President Trump turned down that 60 Minutes interview on CBS, let's remember? The same folks who promised to last night not fact-check the debate, then proceeded to fact-check J.D. Vance all night long, while shining like a metaphorical guiding light for a nervous, sweating, lost in his thoughts Tim Walz. By the way, is there any doubt about Trump's decision not to do any more debates? I don't think so. Again, these CBS moderators promised to do no fact-checking whatsoever, and they just couldn't help themselves. And by the way, wrongly fact-checked J.D. Vance, and then just couldn't handle it when he corrected them. Watch.
And just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status.
Well, Margaret, but
thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important because
we're going to turn out of the economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
The rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check, and since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That is the facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by our own leadership.
Thank you, Senator, for describing the legal process. We have so much to get to, Senator.
Those laws have been on the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The CBP One app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created, Margaret.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut. We have so much we want to get to. Thank you for explaining the legal process.
So you hear what she said? She says, thank you, Senator, for describing the legal process, which really means thank you, Senator, for being right and being honest and being truthful. And she couldn't hear it. She couldn't handle that. Margaret Brennan, nasty, nasty woman. On the smugness of the two of those, don't you hate these people? I'm telling you, you can't hate them enough. How shameful. Kids have died. Children being used as drug mules. Americans are dying every day because of the invasion at our southern border, and they just don't want to hear it. It's an inconvenient truth. So they lead with a question on the story of the day yesterday. Iran sending missiles into Israel. Fine. Even though Walz's answer couldn't be further from an actual answer to a serious question. And out of the gate, Walz made a major fail.
Israel's ability to be able to defend itself is absolutely fundamental. Getting its hostages back, fundamental, and ending the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. But the expansion of Israel and its proxies is an absolute fundamental necessity for the United States to have the steady leadership.
Hear that? Expansion of Israel and its proxies out of the gate saying Iran instead of Israel. Wow, tell us how you really feel, tampon Timmy. But then they went into climate change and abortion. They knew what they were doing. They know that if they talked about Hurricane Helene, the economy, crime, they knew that J.D. Vance would absolutely obliterate Tampon Tim. Remember, with the liberal machine, media machine, nothing, and I mean nothing, is a coincidence. Nothing is unplanned. And of course, they couldn't help themselves. January 6th. I mean, are you kidding me? The streets of Minneapolis were literally on fire, looting. People were dying, violence. Summer of Love was post-apocalyptic. And what? Nothing on that but, yep, January 6th. You cannot despise these people enough. J.D. Vance still prevailed. But, boy, the liberal machine, relentless, downright corrupt, even evil, I would say, because they know how to manipulate.
Yeah. And I actually think if you're a woman, that might be the worst moment J.D. Vance had, because he was going to mansplain right over that mute button. He was, and again, I don't pretend to know how everyone will react to this. I think that a lot of women in positions of authority that should command respect just by virtue of that dynamic will see themselves in some dude that disrespected them and talked over.
Mansplain? Nicole Wallace mansplained. J.D. Vance was a gentleman. He actually looked at Tim Walz and said, you're right on some things. That wasn't mansplaining. That was two guys going at it, and one was winning and the other one was losing. But you can't handle it. Can you, Nicole Wallace, MSNBC, CNN? You can't despise the leftist media enough. But for me, and I said it here right on the first show a couple days ago, it's all about the First Amendment. Everything starts with the First Amendment. The Democrats have declared war on our First Amendment rights. They want to control the media. They already do, by the way. They want to stop you and me from saying anything they disagree with. And there's plenty we disagree with those clowns. So you and I, well, we're domestic terrorists for voicing our opinions. When J.D. Vance is right, he's mansplaining. Well, J.D. Vance called them out on all of our behalves.
For not believing in democracy, the most sacred right under the United States democracy is the First Amendment. You yourself have said there's no First Amendment right to misinformation. Kamala Harris wants to use the power of government and big tech to silence people from speaking their minds. That is a threat to democracy that will long outlive this present political moment. I would like Democrats and Republicans to both reject censorship.
Did you see Walz's eye? He was deer in the headlights, folks. Thank you for that, by the way, JD. But if you want to know the most laughable moment, downright the most laughable moment of the entire evening, wasn't even on the debate stage. It's mega state TV operative Rachel Maddow, who apparently didn't actually watch the debate. I mean, because, wow, look what she said.
A cordial debate between these two men. I wouldn't describe them as evenly matched because they are so different. So different in style and so different on substance. Very interested to hear from the spin room, to hear from all of my colleagues here, to get to all of the analysis that we're going to get to. I think the big picture takeaway from this is that one of these candidates is much slicker than the other, is a much more practiced kind of professional debate style speaker, and the other candidate won.
Did you hear the end of that? She said Walz won. Rachel Maddow said Tim Walz won that debate last night. Like the whole entire world realized it. Democrat machine said, pretty bad, almost as bad as Joe Biden's. But that lunatic said Tim Walz, I don't know what she was watching. There you have it, folks. If there ever were proof that these people, the Democrats shilling for the leftist media shilling for the Democrat Party, they get their marching orders straight from the swamp creatures. There it was, because in no way, shape, or form did Tampon Tim come even remotely close to winning that debate. CBS, MSNBC, the whole lot of them. You can't despise the media enough. They're not on the side of the First Amendment. They're not on the side of you and me. They're not on the side of Americans. They're not on the side of the Constitution. They're only there to serve their own agenda, their own deep state agenda. And while Vance was demolishing the debate last night, absolute fact, the liberal deep state media machine only served to prove yet again that Republicans shouldn't touch these debates. Kamala Harris still hasn't given a press conference. Tim Walz refused to take questions last night afterwards. They're playing their own game of chess with the media, and Republicans should too. Once upon a time, way back in 2016, and then again, once upon a time, back in 2020, the leftist media machine and the whole infrastructure, the whole apparatus, was hard at work at the request of their dark, deep state swamp masters, peddling this notion that President Trump would guide us to World War III. Remember when Joe said this?
The world changed because of what Trump has done. And the American people, including independents and some Republicans, know how bad he is, know how much he's misrepresented, know how he's getting close to getting us in a war. I said, as the walls close in on this man, I'm worried he's going to get us to war in Iran. Unfortunately, I may have been right. The fact of the matter is there's a lot at stake in this election.
Well, that didn't age well, did it? We watched missiles rain down from Iran into Israel yesterday, all under Kamala and Joe, didn't we? Speaking of Cammie.
He's tweeting out, this bravado about, lock and loaded. What does that mean? Okay. And also,
Well, it's an implicit military threat that the U.S. is going to use. We're going to use U.S. force.
Yes, it is. And again, listen, as far as I'm concerned, this president is motivated by his personal insecurities more than he is our national security. If this president is thinking about putting us in a position where we're in a war with Iran, the consequences will be absolutely unacceptable and tragic in terms of the young men and women who are American soldiers.
Got to call you out there, Kamala Harris. Got to call you out. You slapped these American soldiers in the face when you denied in the debate that there were even active duty members. Remember that? Remember that? And you and your boss, Barack Obama, or should I say the other boss you disposed of quite nicely, Joe Biden, were responsible for the deaths of 13 active service members with that disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. And by the way, this tweet, quote, either the Trump administration is angling for another disastrous war in the Middle East, or they've spent 2 years saber-rattling against Iran with no strategy and no end game. This president is making America weaker and less safe. I would say that was projection, wouldn't you, folks? These things just haven't aged very well at all. All right, my favorite time of the show, the Truth Bond Show. Hey, roll the animation. All right, always on center, always fun. Well, remember this moment at the Trump-Kamala Harris debate? It's going to live on forever, but refresher, watch.
To our country and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Well, that was an amazing moment. That was a little sidebar story. I used to play professional baseball. I was in Bradenton, Florida in the minor leagues. A lot of young Dominicans would come over from the Dominican Republic. They were drafted. They ate the cats, folks. I swear on my life, they ate the cats. Anyway, so Trump says this, and it becomes this an instant cult hero, goes viral. Listen to this remix that was made a little bit right after. It's great. You've heard it before. Listen.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Eat the cat.
Look at that cat. Look at the cat on the right. He's amazing.
So don't push me. Ain't Donald Trump trying to grab him by the... Said it was some Haitians somewhere out in Springfield. Women doing cartwheels.
Amazing, right? Awesome. Terrific. It's so popular now. Take a listen to this. This is in Germany. This is an outdoor concert in Germany. Another country, folks. Another continent. They're even playing. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Listen. Esque remix of this. Listen. This is a good part coming up. Here it comes. Sing it! Meow, 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 meow. Gotta love it, folks. Awesome. Bolling, Truth Bomb, out. All right, before we go, voicemails. I've been asking you this since we started. I've been doing this for many, many years. Send me a voicemail. Call me up. You might be used on this show. The number is toll-free. I'll post it in just a second. It's 888-601-0032. We'll post that up in just a minute. But here are a few from the last 2 days or so. First, today we got this one from regarding the debate last night. Listen.
Hi, Eric. Cindy from Florida. Just wanted to give you a comment regarding the vice presidential debate last night. I thought Vance defined himself. He came out strong, articulate, poised, attractive, with those baby blue eyes. It reminded me of the 1960 debate between Nixon and JFK. Nixon was sweaty, awkward, fidgety, and JFK was attractive, articulate, and steady. Vance is JFK, Walz, Nixon.
I heard a lot of that. I heard a lot of he's like a new JFK. That's fantastic. All right, this one is, again, folks, when you do call, leave your name and where you're calling from, because we'll put it up on the screen. If you're okay with it, let us know. Democrats lie. Watch. Listen.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing of the vice president debate last night, the biggest truth said by Walz was, I'm a knucklehead. Yeah, he's a knucklehead, all right. But it's funny how the fact checkers and everybody else says Trump lies. He just lies. Everything's a lie. But when Democrats lie, just lie, it's called embellishment. It's called misspeaking.
Yep. Trump's a liar, everyone else misspeaks. Isn't that the truth? Again, awesome voicemail. And about one more, and this is kind of funny. I don't think it was related to last night, but listen to this guy. He's got some really interesting things to say.
Yeah, these dock workers and stuff, they make supposedly anywhere from $80,000 to $200,000 a year. That's more than I ever made after 26 years in the military. I made about 55 at the end of my career. So, yeah, I don't have any empathy for these guys, you know. But they need to be held responsible if people cannot get necessary goods that are being affected by the hurricane and everything else because they want more pay or they're fighting to keep automation away.
And let's not forget, the other thing is these dock workers, they're unionized. Remember Union Joe Biden? I'm union, I'm pro-union. Get in there. It's one of the big banks, one of the big Wall Street banks says we're losing $5 billion, America, $5 billion in economic activity per day that they're on strike. So we're day 2 now. When's it going to end? I'll tell you where it ends. When prices spike, they go higher because the supply chain has frozen because of the dock workers strike. You can't buy cars because they're all stuck at the dock. You can't produce cars. You can't move stuff from the docks into the cities. Prices are going to go up. You see, there's video from Costco. People were outside Costco around the block filling up, trying to load up on stuff in anticipation of an extended dock workers strike. Prices will spike, and then they will wheel Kamala Harris out to pasture because Donald Trump will be the next president. So you know what? It may cost us a little bit more, but in the long run, it's probably a good thing. This happened right now. Again, we called it yesterday, the October surprise. And this year is a big one. You have that, dock workers strike, bombs flying into Israel from Iran, and you had Tim Walz on the stage just getting mopped up by J.D. Vance. Folks, here's that number again. Call me, leave your name, tell me where you're calling from. We want to put you on the show. 888-601-0032, 888-601-0032. Give me a call. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, and what you thought of the show, and who you want to see on the show. We're going to bring some guests in pretty soon. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bolling out.